Yep. I'm gonna text you my address. You go in the gate, and then it's the little tiny house in the back, and it's unlocked. And in the back left corner of my house, under the big whiteboard, it's plugged in.
I doubt it.
Microsoft charger. It's okay.
Yes.
All right, you're up.
I'm up. Where are we going first?
I guess design guidelines.
Fine. And then I was going to go here.
Yes.
Me. Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we'll get started. Thank you for attending. I want to start by recognizing our newest agent, Rick Smiley. You can tell they obviously dress better than we do. He's way overdressed for us, but welcome, Rick. And Danya Willis is watching online. You might know Danya. She's from our neighborhood. She has recently joined us also, so welcome to both of you. A lot of information. I'm just going to jump right in some of it because I don't want to get overwhelmed. I want to make sure that you're clear about Heights design guidelines. And these are the first set of this round of design guidelines that the city's producing. They're redoing all the design guidelines for basically all 22 districts over time. But it's because this is the most comprehensive one, it will kind of be a model for the rollout in other neighborhoods. This is a very long process. It's a very expensive process. And I think that you must also recognize it's a very political process. So there is, no one knows anything for sure. There is nothing definite because it requires a vote of the city council. The city council is a political entity and anything can change at any given moment. The way the process is going to work is they've created a draft, we had a comment period, we created a new draft, and we're in that comment period now, which ends October 6th. After October 6th, the group will forward to the Houston Archaeological and Historical Commission a draft recommendation for the October 19th meeting at HHC. And the public is invited to go and discuss it one more time, actually any number of times, whatever. At the October meeting of the HHC, they will not take any vote. It's just up for discussion. It will then be on the agenda in the November 14th meeting for the HHC, at which point they will vote for it and recommend approval of something, and it will get forwarded on to the appropriate location at City Hall. It will then be vetted at the Quality of Life Committee of the City Council, which probably would not take place until January. Okay? So at the very earliest, something might go to City Council on some type of agenda in February. The very earliest, okay? Anything could change at the October meeting, something could change at the November meeting, something could change, the Quality of Life Committee could recommend some change, and then it goes, and let's just say hypothetically, it goes to City Council on one Tuesday or Wednesday in February. It'll be up for discussion, it'll be controversial, it will get tagged that week, and there will not be a vote there. It will go to the following week at the earliest. It could be pulled again. Any city council member, it is called politics, folks. They trade, they horse trade one thing for another. So, I mean, we did agree as the compromise, no matter what's adopted, if it's in February or March, there'd be a 60-day period before any of it would be implemented. So if someone had a project and they're looking to do a project in the Heights, you know, I would say get your project filed and onto the HHC agenda in January, February, or March, and you're probably going to be just fine. These new rules will not go into play probably before April, okay? No, that's a long way, but before you know it, it will be April. Anything could happen because it is moderately controversial. The mayor could say, we're not going to have any measurable standards at all, and they all could be removed. I mean, theoretically. It's the art of compromise. And I tell you, I will be overly involved in it. I'm not going to get involved in it until October, November, December, and January. I'm going to pick my battles closer to the end, okay? So I will get more involved later. I'm just, you know, I'm not going to fight this thing out for 6 or 7 months over here. I'll pick my battles first. And I want to let you know what they're proposing, and I feel like along these lines are what you're going to see go before the HHC, and that's going to be the recommendation. We are going to try and create one little summary of my personal thoughts, which you do not have to agree with, and I assure you not all of our clients agree with. I am entitled to an opinion. And so I'm going to create my opinion. I'm going to submit mine before October 6th. And if you'd like to review what it is that I'm submitting, you're going to be welcome to do so. I encourage you, if you have a homeowner in Heights East, West, and South, for you to submit something. Say I love it, say I hate it, say I want it to be X versus Y, and we would like some more comments. Honestly, about 1,500 houses. There's basically 6 homeowners that have commented anything substantive about the matter. Some people say, I hate the historic district. Some people say, I hate the mayor. That doesn't make any difference with regards to the quantitative statements that are being made about, you know, the design guidelines. So what they're going to say, I'm not political, we put it out there and nobody objected. Since nobody objected, we should pass it. That's exactly the argument that will be made. If nobody doesn't like it, if you had a chance to say I don't like it, and nobody said they didn't like it, then this is what we're going to get. And that's, I'm just telling you, that's how it's going to get passed at the HHC and at the quality of life, because that's the message that the group is going to give you. So I think people just don't know, and they just don't realize how it's going to impact us all in the future. I'm going to go over a few of these sort of things. I want you to know it's very fluid over here. It's gotten better. I think definitely the design guidelines and the presentation that they've made it is better. This is it. Remember, we've got about a 30-page ordinance. We've got a 180-page document that's trying to describe our ordinance over here. But it is much better organized. I have a written copy out here, and the sections are much better. It can get a little confusing, but if you want to know something in particular, let me know. But the organization did get better. For the first time in any of these historic districts, there are quantitative, measurable standards that are being put in place. And this is the biggest change. It's vague before. The other comments and the other design guidelines are, you know, the addition must be subordinate. Well, what the hell does that even mean? What does subordinate mean? I don't really know. So now it's very clear what it means. It sets a maximum standard, okay? An example, the most, you know, so let's go over a couple of them. There's a lot coverage standard. It basically says the largest footprint that you can have on a 5,000 square foot lot or 6,600 square foot lot or larger is a percentage, about 40% of the area. So if you have a 5,000 square foot lot, if we use 40%, or tell you that your first floor could only take up 40%, 40%, which is 3,000 square feet. The good thing, if we made some compromise, it doesn't include open porches, it doesn't include screen porches, and it doesn't include detached garages, but it does include attached garages, okay? So there's always going to be, in all of these deals, it's going to be, is it a contributing structure or non-contributing structure? Is it new construction or is it an addition? There's going to be separate rules for each of these sort of things, but in general, the lot coverage applies to all of those sort of things. So it says a maximum lot coverage. I made the argument that it's too restrictive. I will tell you, the city of Houston has a maximum lot coverage ordinance. It's in our building code already. We already have one. It's far more generous than the one that we're going to have in this design guideline. For the people who live in Woodland Heights and, you know, these other areas, I mean, you're going to get these design guidelines, and they're going to have the same format to them in the very near future. So Whatever happens in heights east, west, and south is just an indicator of what might happen in the other design guidelines that we picked out later. So this is maximum lot coverage, what you can put on a piece of lot. So the largest house footprint that you have. Floor area ratio is basically the air conditioned space. So it's limiting not only the footprint down below, but the total air conditioned space. And this is how they can regulate the total size, because you're not able to have more than X amount of air conditioned space. They're regulating for sure the size of a house. The typical, and there's a ratio for every lot size. If it's 5,000 square foot, it's a ratio. If it's 6,600 square foot, it's a ratio. If it's 7,500 square foot, and the ratio declines depending on how large you get. Basically, I'm not going to get into the minutia. Basically, about a 2,800 square foot house would be the maximum you would get on a normal 6,600 square foot lot. On your 5,000 square foot lot, like in Woodland Heights, significantly lower, about 2,400 square foot. You would be able to get a 400 square foot garage and a 400 square foot garage apartment on top of these ratios currently. Okay? So we've changed the initial calculation to allow, provided this detached garage, 400 square feet. I will tell you, please do not let anyone build a 20 by 20 garage. You cannot fit 2 cars at today's standard in a 20 by 20 garage, which is really about 19 by 19 by the time you build a wall and put up the stud and the sheetrock or whatever. So I'm telling you, I can't sell houses with a 20 by 20 garage. Cannot sell them. The cars don't fit. There's no point in building a house if the Suburban and the Mercedes don't fit in the garage. So, but that's where we're at, 400. I think the number should be larger. I think we ought to build 22 by 24 size garages, and so why not use that as the ratio if that's the standard of the size of the garage.
So you won't be able to have a 2-car garage?
You can have a 2-car garage, 20, you can have whatever you want. But if you had a 30 by 30 garage, and that was 900 square feet, 500 of your square feet must be taken off the size of your house. Now you can only have a 2,100 square foot house because your garage is larger. You only have a maximum footprint. So if you build a 25 by 25 garage, and that's whatever, however many square feet that is, subtract 400, then the rest of that square footage has to come off the size of the house you can build or add on to.
Unless it's detached.
When it's attached, it's even more complicated. Yes. But we have very few attached garages, but it's even more complicated. This is a detached garage. Yes. If it's attached, the number's even worse. Okay? So there's a maximum size of the air-conditioned space. Okay? I'm not going to get too complicated there, but certainly you can't go fit 5,000 square foot houses, even if so you have a maximum lot coverage on the ground floor, you have a maximum floor area ratio, that's the total of the two. Just complicated. Let's just keep going. The front setbacks aren't overly complicated. I don't want to get hung up there because it's not worth fighting over. Okay. The next biggest change, we've got a couple of them here, side setbacks. Okay. Basically, for a 1-story house, you would have setbacks of 5 feet and 5 feet on either side. Okay. 5 feet. We don't have any other 5 foot setbacks anywhere else. They're 3 foot in the building code. I'm telling you, I think 5 feet and 5 feet is pretty restricted. And on a 2-story house, it's 15 feet total, minimum of 5. So you got 5 and 10, and 6 and 9, and 7 and 8, and 8 and 7. You have 6.5 and 8.5, whatever. But it's a total of 15 feet on a 2-story house. Okay? Side setbacks. So think how that's going to work on a 50-foot wide lot. Okay? New side setbacks are fairly restrictive. They're going to severely limit what you can do. Couple this side setback with the fact that if you're doing an addition, most of what we're going to be talking about is addition because there's only so many lots that do the construction the way it is. You're going to have to inset both sides of your addition a certain square footage, let's say 5 feet, for a minimum of 6 feet this direction before you could do anything else. So if you have the capability of building 35 feet wide on your addition, but you must inset it on both sides, so now we're down to about 30 feet or something, and then you kick back in there, tell me what rooms you're going to get in that square footage. You're not going to get a bedroom and a den in that little narrow space or whatever. You've got about what you've got right here. I mean, you're going to be able to get a modest addition, but you're not going to be able to get a fairly significant addition on, especially a 2-story addition, which is honestly what they're doing. All those giant camelbacks that you see, you're not going to get that sort of thing. Okay? Side setbacks, fairly restrictive over here. And if they go and implement this in Woodland Heights, I'm just telling you, there are no new additions going to be put in Woodland Heights. And I can't find any house in Woodland Heights, 1-story or 2-story, that meet this criteria. You show me houses that have 5 and 10, there's no way that they can show me houses in that historic district where they work.
So why is not everybody in Woodland Heights?
Well, Woodland Heights is not up for a vote yet, so they probably just haven't realized it or chimed in, but they need to be aware that if it happens in Woodland Heights, it's going to happen in other neighborhoods of 50 by 100 foot lots. Think of what it's going to do. You will be able to add a bathroom on the back of your house or a closet, and that's about it. Okay? This is, I don't get it. Here's the next thing. Basically, what you can build, the way it currently is on height, your first floor would never be able to exceed 10 feet, and your second floor would never be able to exceed 9 feet, and that's the best you're going to get currently. Yes, Mark?
Are there any regulations for rear setbacks?
Only by the building code. There are, but it's determined by, it's really the same as the building code, so it doesn't adversely impact you or whatever. They were in the first draft, the building code, which is determined by the building code. 10-foot maximum ceiling height. Why can't we have a 1-story addition with 11-foot ceiling or 12-foot ceiling? Tell me why on God's earth in a historic neighborhood that historically had 10, 11, and 12-foot ceilings, we would not ever allow anything more than 10 foot. It's ludicrous to me to limit the size of these additions.
How ceilings is the difference between Timber Grove and the Heights?
I understand. Why isn't anyone else arguing about this than me? The damn thing was 9 and 8.
Yeah,
I had to scream to get it
No,
to 10 and 9.
house with these ceilings.
I hear you.
I mean,
Someone in the mayor's office heard it, but yeah, I'm telling you, why, if I'm doing a 1-story addition, couldn't I be able to do 12 feet on that 1-story addition? Tell me why I can't do that. But you cannot do it the way it's written.
so
By
how?
adding to my house, now 11 feet down and 10 feet up, you are going to step down into your addition because it doesn't allow for that addition to match your current house. Your current 2-story house or your current 1-story house that you have higher than that. I think that's crazy. I think it's crazy. There is an intentional movement to reduce the size of the houses and reduce the height of the houses, right? So in addition to our plate height, we have a total height, which has now been compromised. They wanted 24 inches, we brought it up to 30 inches, okay? I'm still arguing for a larger house. I live in a house with a much higher, I have the single most historic house in Woodland Heights, and it's higher than that. The most historic houses in Houston Heights, the houses on the National Registry are all raised houses. Bart Truxillo's house is raised up, right? They're more than 30 inches. They're not a big fan of that. So the maximum in the design guidelines would be 30 inches, and the movement would be for less than 30 inches. What you get, what they want is like this 707 Euclid I now have. It's a wooden bungalow over there with a slab addition at the back of the house that lowers the plate height of everything. So I don't like it.
Plate height is.
Well, it's so typical. Yeah, that's right. I mean, all you really need to know, I don't even think you can mess with it, because if I could fight the plate height more, but it doesn't matter fighting the plate height if I can't get more than 10 foot and 9 foot to begin with. I'd have to win more than one battle because it's the most restrictive of all these things. So I don't even need to worry about what the plate height says because it's already restricted my ceiling height to 10 and 9. There's a few more of these little things. Those are the ones that probably, I have plenty of issues with the design guidelines. They will not make it clear whether or not you can change the windows. Windows are historic materials, and so you're not going to be able to change your wooden window unless it's damaged beyond repair. Now they've added into the vocabulary that pane is a historic material. So now you'll not be able to replace your glass with double pane glass, which is what I have been fighting for. I'll concede that you'll make me use my old wooden sash if you'll let me put in double pane glasses. They're not going to allow you to do that. They're going to let you put a storm window in front of your window to protect it. You can do that. Or you can put something inside your house to protect your window and insulate it. They're not going to let you change your glass because the panes of your glass are now considered to be historic material in their definition.
And these people are
They're protecting it.
savages.
They're protecting it. In their opinion, they're protecting it. This is what I'm going to say because I don't want to get too political. We're going to get a design guideline. That I know. What it says, I'm not sure what they're going to pass. Their argument is this is 1% of the housing stock of the city of Houston. I'm going to say it's pretty valuable housing stock of the city of Houston. And in what way is this not overly regulatory of a city that has consistently voted against zoning? Are we now zoning? Are we totally restricting the use of some of the space of that land? Certainly you are. So I don't know. There's a lot more little details. Those are probably the highlights I wanted you to recognize. Ceiling height, height of the building, these side setbacks, maximum lot coverage, and floor area ratio. Pretty restrictive.
So what are they trying to emulate? What is the
Keep
historic?
like little bungalows surrounded by little bungalows. Their version is the little bungalow must be protected from having some huge structure beside it, because that diminishes the value of the quality of life of the person living in the little bungalow. You take away the tree from next door, you take away the light from next door, you take away the view from next door, if you have this big addition next to a little bungalow. And that is their argument. It's never that we're not protecting any more bungalows, damn it. The bungalows are protected. We're keeping we're keeping the next door neighbor from doing something that diminishes the value of the home that you live in. That's what it is.
I'm okay with that part.
No, that's what it does. If that's what you want, then this
I
is
mean,
what
but
you're gonna
not
get.
all of that. I do think we should have our sight lines not blocked anymore, but I don't understand.
I'm okay with a reasonable setback. I'm okay with, I'm not saying I'm not okay with 10 if it were 3 and 7 or something, but 5 and 5
But not overly.
is.
It doesn't exist in nature.
It doesn't exist in a 5,000 square foot lot where you have a driveway down a bungalow. So how am I going to get a driveway and not push the house over to get a driveway? In any of those bungalows over there, they don't meet the 5 and 10 rule.
Yes,
Just
they don't
that way.
have L like the height.
So do they let the bottom floor be a certain square footage, but then you can go out? Is that what they're saying about the?
Yeah.
All of the rules would apply, and it would be, you must meet every criteria, so you must meet the lot coverage, the floor area ratio. You can certainly do an addition to bungalow. If you have a 1,200 square foot bungalow, you can go out and do an addition of your bungalow, 1-story, 10-foot ceilings. You can go add another 1,200 square feet, because if you were on a 6,600 square foot lot, you would have 2,700 floor area ratio. You're not gonna get any big houses.
Yeah.
Are we getting new members of the historic?
You're getting one on Wednesday, but you're just replacing a like-minded person with a like-minded person. You didn't alter the Supreme Court over here. You just replaced a representative from the Greater Houston Builders Association with a new member of the Greater Houston Builders Association. So you're replacing Rob Hellier with Stephen McNeil, but the balance of the NEHAC did not get modified in the case.
Okay,
So
people
between
don't
these-
know about this is the problem, I guarantee you. They tell Kyle you this cantilever, their addition over their pool, and they were trying to blow out there. People in Woodland Heights do not know about this.
They don't remotely know about
And the local proponent left the neighborhood as soon as this got passed, which is what happened.
Yeah, I understand.
So
Question about design guidelines.
Cynthia has a question. What if the glass has already been replaced and is no longer the old wavy glass, so it isn't historical anyway?
Yes, you can replace the glass.
If it could be a double pane.
Yes, you can. If your material is currently non-historic, you can replace it with like material, another window with a double pane window. Yes, you'd be able to replace that.
What if a baseball line falls in?
You can replace the glass, if you show them that the window is broken, you can replace the glass. And there are many good things that have happened. I mean, a lot of the administrative approvals check the box. They made it easier to do certain things. It's easier to replace siding with light siding. It's easier to replace a door. It's easier to replace something. They made it clear what it doesn't regulate. So I think the design guidelines can be good. It'll give some clarity about what you can and cannot do. And it's I think they've organized it well. I'm doing an addition. I'm building a new construction non-contributing. I'm modifying my non-contributing structure. I'm modifying my contributing structure. You just go straight to those lines and see what it is that you needed to do. So in many ways, we're going to get a design guideline and it's going to make it more clear. It's how restrictive are we going to be? And I want to quote the previous mayor and the previous planning director, and I want to tell you, they are 100% correct. These rules get more restrictive, not less restrictive. Why are we starting with our first design guideline in 8 years with the more restrictive? Why don't we just get a design guideline and then make it more restrictive later after people have a chance to digest it a little bit? But this is their chance to do it, and so they're going to grab it every chance you can. This can be changed just fine. It will take a large number of homeowners in Heights East, West, and South to make a comment, and it will take a fair number of people down at City Hall saying something. Saying I don't want a design guideline is going to get us nowhere because you're going to get a design guideline. So we must have, what are we going to remove the lot coverage because it's already addressed in the building code? Are we going to remove the floor area ratio because that could be adjusted if we change the ceiling height to a reasonable number, 11 and 10, and that determines how high it can be because I can only be 10 and 11, right? But I think we ought to allow 11-foot ceilings on the first floor. I think we ought to allow 10-foot ceilings on the second floor. I think we ought to allow a house to be 36 inches off the ground. Personally, I don't think any of those things are radical. I think that those are perfectly reasonable things to say. I'm okay with the side setback. I'm telling you, 3-foot side setback on one side and a larger setback on the other side is a reasonable thing to have. It's what we have all throughout the inner city. Why are we going to be more restricted in these other areas?
However, we could get a punishing a 1% of the population. It's like they
You're
want to
preserving
buy.
them, Jenny.
They want to buy.
You're preserving them.
They should buy this property from these people.
They will tell you to buy it in the 99% area if you don't like it. That's what they will stand right there and tell you. If you don't like the rules, go buy in the 99% of the area. It's not even.
They won't be able to say that they're out.
They're not allowed to consider the economic impact one way or the other.
So
They don't care. They don't think about if it costs something to go up or down. Over time, all things go up, right? So they don't take into account economic impact.
at some point, do we think that anybody is going to do an analysis of Houston Heights East and see how many
They're
houses
doing an
actually?
analysis right this moment of all of the properties that have passed the HAHC since January of 2015 to see what impact it would have with this analysis. That is the only study they're going to have. They're not going to have it till later in the year.
Right.
It'll probably be after the HAHC.
But even just all the housing stock in Houston Heights East, where people anecdotally kind of know that it would meet
I'll
this
tell
lot
you right
coverage
now, if
criterion.
Heights East applied for a historic district, then we can qualify.
Right. That's
Then we
crazy.
qualify. But so they don't think of it that way. It does not currently qualify because the number of contributing factors has been reduced below what is the threshold, but they were reduced after the district was formed.
So wouldn't these new guidelines violate the ordinance itself
But
and make
once
it?
it's already adopted, it's adopted.
And what
So,
about flooding? Wouldn't you
We
want
made
it?
the argument, and so this is their response. You may go apply for a variance if you can justify why your house should be greater than 30 inches. So there is a mechanism for you to try and fight any of these sort of things, but nobody wins. Not one person has won an appeal since this ordinance went into place. Not one person, okay? Not one person, not one homeowner has ever won an appeal yet. How easy is it going to be to appeal when it's just not that easy. Don't want to get too hung up because people don't only care about nice design guidelines. You know,
Okay, so we have some houses in the historic districts that over the past 15, 20 years have added a new garage in the back.
Yep.
And the garage is a fairly large structure. It's 2.5 car, maybe even a 3-car garage. So if the homeowner wanted to then add a second story and add a garage apartment above the existing structure, will they be able to do that?
You must meet the floor area ratio. If you have a 200 square foot bungalow and your numbers that you're adding fall under the floor area ratio, the answer is yes. But if you have a 3,000 square foot house and you have a garage and you're going to try and add, but you can add 400 square feet above the garage before the floor area ratio counts. But if you have a 600 square foot garage on the first floor and you already exceed the floor area ratio, you can build a 400 square foot garage apartment and have a big patio upstairs.
Or you could,
That's going to be
or
very
you have to, but you get 400 free, right?
That's correct.
So then if it's a 600 square foot, you just have to take 200 away from your.
That's right. That's so. But if you already exceeded
Already
the floor area ratio, you're not going to be able to do anything. That's if you had a 1,200 square foot bungalow, you can apply your extra 200 square feet to the floor area. You got a maximum credit card and it only has $2,800. And when you go to charge $2,900, it ain't going to work. They're going to be denied. You're going to have to get down below your credit limit for your credit card to work. Right? Okay. Did I got that? All done.
Fun.
All righty.
When you have your thing done, 'cause it's
I will,
today the third.
Yes, we're working on that.
Friday.
We're working on that among our many objectives.
Thursday on the plane to Puerto Rico.
If you have specific questions about these, you can ask me later for sure. All right, you want to make sure you're up to date on our politics. We never want to not see politics over here. Okay, definitely the state of Texas came through, offered the city the $50 million. The initial tax that the mayor proposed all went away. All of that, additional city taxes all went away. That's no longer a factor in our world at all. Okay, so what is still a factor are these bonds in November. I mentioned, I want to stress, I think it's the most significant thing that we've done in 10 years. I want you to know if it doesn't pass, it's going to be more detrimental than Harvey to the city of Houston. Okay, so follow me along for a moment. The first item we're going to vote for in November 7th is the pension obligation bond, which is $1,010 million. That's up for your vote. And you can vote yes or no. You agree to these issuance of these pension bonds. To be clear how it works, the city, in its wisdom, negotiated a $2.5 billion reduction in what we owe in the future. We refinanced our mortgage over here, and the savings is $2.5 billion. The municipal workers gave up $700 million. The police gave up $1 billion, and the firemen gave away $802 million. You add those little numbers, 7, 8, and 1, it's $2.5 billion they gave up. Okay? And what we're doing with the $1 billion is paying back to the funds we've already borrowed against. We took our vacation home, we refinanced it over here, and we went ahead and we did our swimming pool at our major house over here to keep the swimming pools open. We borrowed from these funds again to balance the city budget over the last 20 years. So we must pay back $750 million into the municipal fund and $250 million into the police fund that we borrowed. We're paying them back at a rate below what we've already borrowed, okay? So issuing the $1 billion worth of bonds causes no tax increase, actually creates a reduction. Our payment would have been $234 million without this agreement this year, and fiscal budget was started July 1 through June 30th. We only had to pay $123 million because of the agreement that was reached. That saves $111 million. If the people, the voters, vote against the $1 billion, you don't have the $1 billion to pay back that you owe already, you already owe it, and you lose the $2.5 billion worth of savings immediately, and we must pay then the $111 million into this budget, which we do not have, which would cause massive layoffs and shortages in the city. There would be no recycling. There would be no swimming pools. There would be reduced library hours, and there would be much fewer policemen and firemen on the streets. We do not have the money. I'm telling you, 67% of the budget is already tied to personnel. The only thing you can cut that makes anything different is people. Very few people are gonna vote. It's gonna be less than 7 or 8% of the population. Most people that vote hate government. So you're up against a battle of that people that are tending to vote in this election don't like government. And so they think by voting no, you're gonna get less government. And you're gonna get less government, you're gonna get less police and firemen. It will cause the credit rating of the city to go down. So now the interest rate on everything that we owe goes up. It's going to be a national embarrassment that we can't agree to pension reform. And we have no pension deal, which would not then be addressed until the legislature met again, which is 2 more years down the road, which throws us into even a greater problem in the next fiscal year. We would be virtually broke as a city. It'd be catastrophic. I don't think that people are going to be doom and gloom on the radio, but I'm just telling you, I can look at the numbers. I know the numbers very well for just an average citizen over here, and it's a bad gig if we don't get our friends out there to vote for the pension obligation bond. Because it's not the $1 billion, it's 4. You're voting for the issuance of these bonds, which pay off the other one at a higher rate and get us the $2.5 billion savings. We gotta get our friends and family and every registered voter to vote November 7th for those bonds. It's the number one thing I'm just telling you, we must do it.
We don't think there's going to be some opposition message coming up very soon
Sure
here
there is. Sure there is.
saying we should focus on relief, not parks and libraries.
Well,
and-
let's just stay on the pension bond for just a moment,
Yeah.
because I'm not going to talk about that yet. But I mean, the pension bond, I think some people would say, I think they're overly wanting it to go away. They don't like the deal, but I don't think their next deal gets better. I think it gets worse. So while they're not happy, I don't know that it's in their benefit. It's not in any city employee's benefit not to pass this. So the municipal workers, the firemen, the police may not love it because they did give up a fair amount of their deal, and they will. I mean, on paper, it's going to sound better initially to the firemen because now their benefits go right back up the way they were. They were unsustainable. I mean, we were already going broke. So yeah, there'll be some opposition to the pension obligation bonds, but I mean, I think there's just going to be apathy. It's not going to be organized one way or the other. There will be TV commercials. They will come out. They'll come out shortly. But I think the public needs to know about this issuance of bonds saves us $2.5 billion and refinances this $1 billion we already owed. We still, whether you vote yes or no, we still owe the $1 billion. It's, do you want to pay 5% interest on it or 4% interest on it? And do you want to add to that 4% with the savings of $2.5 billion? You want to talk about that? We can talk about that one later. In addition to this one, there's another $495 million bond, and you get to vote whether you want or not a particular item. So the first one is this $150 million, which is basically money for police and fire, which is to solve the fire truck issue that was in the paper yesterday. We don't have any money to replace the fire trucks or the EMS trucks or the police trucks or the police academy. So it's $160 million just basically for fire and police. You want more fire and police equipment. This isn't people, this is equipment.
But this is what we needed before everything went.
That's correct. That's correct. And this is, so this is financing a police station over 30 years. This is financing, this is putting money into equipment, $160 million to basically get our equipment needs up to date with policemen and fire. It doesn't really solve our personnel problem, but by using the bond money, it frees up more money that would have bought a police car, and now we're going to be able to hire a policeman. So it's a step in addressing our inequity with police and fire. Okay? $160 million. $104 million for more parks. If you want more parks, vote for this. If you don't want more parks, don't vote for it. I just want you to know what happens. You can vote for one and not the other. You're going to get yes or no for anything that you want. $109 million is for multi-service centers and the public health. This is to get multi-service centers. This is one in Ely. It's basically medical facilities and multi-service centers out in the neighborhood. $123 million for libraries. You want more libraries, you like the libraries, vote for it. You don't like the libraries, don't vote for it. I just want you to know what it is. If you pass all 409, you got a credit card again? We made our minimum payment of our $25 on the $2,500 that we owe over here, and we paid down enough on that bondedness. If you pass the $495 million, there's no tax increase to anyone in the city of Sioux City. Okay? We still owe $25. We're still going to owe it for 30 more years. So we didn't cut our payment. We didn't increase your payment by passing these bonds. Tax rate stays the same. We just have a debt limit, and you just paid off a little bit of debt, and just refinanced it, and bought yourself another library, another fire truck, another hike and bike trail. So A, B, C, D, and E on the bonds. November 7th, early voting starts really very soon here. Just want you to be aware. I'm not going to be passed out these one way or the other. I could live without these. I cannot live without the pension bond vote. It's telling you, the city's screwed. We are in trouble. We don't pass that pension bond because it took 20 years to get the agreement. I'm not sure you get the agreement again. Be a long way coming. Okay, those are pension bonds. What else?
All right. What else we got? Oh yeah, that stuff.
Yeah. So matrix training. We have basically. How many of you are thoroughly knowledgeable in everything you ever need to know about matrix? Anybody? Okay, there you go. Perfect.
Catherine?
If you don't, then you need to have this training on Friday, which is from 9:45 to 2. So I will tell us more about that.
It's a hands-on training, so bring your laptop. It's one of the reasons why we've asked you to come in at 9:45. We have got a new router over here. So
Just for y'all.
we're able to handle everybody being on the laptops at the same time, which will help the office overall too. And we do need your RSVP. You can either let Mary Ann know with an email or a call or whatever else. You can respond to the RSVP on the event that's put on the Facebook page under what I call our secret agent page. We do need a head count on that for sure. We do need 20 people to show up, but we have to pay more for the training. We are having lunch provided, but that's the reason why we need the RSVP for that.
And then there'll be a second round of that
Which will
training.
be CMA, the CMA version of Matrix, which
Why
still.
didn't you put it on back agent?
It is on back agent. It's been in the resource for the last month. The training, but both this training and this one's been on back agent. It's been in the resource, like I said, for at least the last month. So, and CMA training, will also be here. That's as well, the
IABS.
on the 20th. That one's being done by Charter Title.
There's plenty of these trainings, and you need to be trained, and you're gonna get cut off from temper. What do you think?
I've been to 2 trainings on Matrix, one CMA and one hands-on. Actually, I've been to 3. I've been to 3 trainings, and I still get lost in there all the time. So I think it's just very advisable to do it.
Okay, yes.
And if you can't make these classes, if you call home,
We'll
they
send
will
an
let you
email
know
to you.
when
Or do you
watch
have to
the
sign an email?
class. If the class is
Yes.
full, you show
Your
up,
first
and they have all the
substantive
time
thing.
sheets.
Gotta have it on your
And
Facebook. Gotta have
if
it.
you
Yeah.
don't show up, they'll let you come in, and that's with any of their classes. If you've already taken it, they don't charge you. And they let you come in on the wait list. But you have to be there for the class.
And it's $10.
Still, it's supposed to be going away in October.
This is October.
This is October, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's usually going away too.
we need to make sure that you're clear about your responsibilities when it comes to providing information about brokerage services, especially electronically or over the internet. Because we've been notified by our dear big brother Trek that we're definitely not in compliance. We only have 30 days to get into compliance with how this works. If you have your own website and you have a real estate Facebook page, then you must put this information out there. You must also provide this information in your first email correspondence that you have with any potential client. So you're going to get used to adding this to your emails and how it works. So Aaron, explain to me how we're going to do this.
So if you go into your HAR dashboard or go to your HAR account, go my account, and then go to this information about brokerage services, and then it brings you here. So then you take these URLs that this automatically fills out your IABS. And then you take this little link and it's going to pre-fill out your IABS. This is a new feature, by the way, because before we were having people just do it on their own, and we kind of sent y'all a little video about it. Okay, so you're going to have this form, and then you're going to put it into, like, let's go to Martha's website. Your HAR agent website, it's already there. Yeah, it's there automatically. But this is like if you have your own site or whatever. And then we'll go to Cynthia's email after Martha's website loads and show you how that goes. Let's go to Facebook. Well, it's growing pains. Okay. Anyway, we'll continue pulling that up.
If you don't have it, get with Aaron and get it, and then we're gonna check and see if you have it here this next week.
And on your email.
Okay, so
And on your email?
It has to be on your email, first touch to the people. It has to be above your signature line.
Yeah. A minimum 10-point font.
If it's on our website, I mean, your website has lots of pages. Which page do you put it on? Or does it have to be on every page?
Has to be a homepage only.
On the homepage.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
need to have both the IABS and the consumer protection.
Oh yeah, so that was the other thing here. That's the IABS, and then no man, now we're not seeing anything. And then you have to put the Trek Consumer Protection Notice, but that's just a generic form. It's not pre-filled out. Yeah. Well, let's just email some examples. We're never going to see this all together. But yeah, those two things. They're finally really starting to crack down on it, I guess. It's been in effect for, what, a year and a half or something like that, but they're finally really starting to crack down on it.
This whole summer.
Yeah. Yeah, we will. Anyway, here's the notice or whatever.
Yeah, we can put it on that page.
A link in your signature page too on your email.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Right.
You have to, actually.
Yeah,
You have to.
Everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I.
You don't have to worry
Oh,
about
right.
it.
That's
regards.
That's what I have, Cynthia has, yeah, but it has to be above your, Wendy said it has to be above your signature.
All right.
Yep.
What other questions we got? National Night Out is on the 7th.
Tomorrow. Tonight.
Tonight?
What's today? Tuesday. Yeah, it's tonight.
Tonight's Tuesday, yeah. The Hike isn't doing anything. We went in conjunction with the Oddfellows on 14th Street. So if your little block's not doing anything and you want to do something neighborhoody, you can go to 14th Street between Heights and Park.
Discovery Green, throughout the day, they had a number of things going on, Sport National Night Out.
Which school neighborhoods have some?
Oak Forest has
You
got
can't just go
all.
out and put on your porch light.
Wine on the
We're doing
porch.
wine on the porch at our house,
There you
so
go.
come on by.
What else we got?
Hard to Beaches,